Learned Behavior by Orphan Account on AO3. Episode 14, Chapter 4. Tension was thick in the air when he got inside. Hizashi was putting his shoes and keys away at the door. Aizawa had already moved to the kitchen, and it sounded like he was making tea. It felt like there was a fragile normacy in the air. One word out of turn and it would collapse. Hitoshi, he didn't know what to do. He settled for standing in the entryway, waiting. He didn't know what he was waiting for, but it felt right. He didn't want to assume that everything was back to normal. He didn't want to assume anything. That's what got me into this mess in the first place. The lack of conversation from Aizawa and Hizashi made him nervous. Were they angry? Tired? Either way, it's my fault. Aizawa broke the silence. That in itself was unusual. See? It was a genuine question. Normally, it'd be directed at everyone. Hitoshi chose not to answer, just in case he was only talking to Hizashi. I'd love some, babe, thanks, Hizashi said. There was a weighted pause. Hitoshi barely realized both men were staring at him expectantly. Hitoshi, tea? Aizawa asked. Startled, he cleared his throat before he spoke. No, thank you. Aizawa nodded and went back to the kitchen. Hitoshi caught the tail end of a glance from Hizashi. Was it concern? Is he annoyed? Did I say something wrong? He started walking to his room. He wanted to get away from this goddamn awful tension as soon as possible. Hitoshi? Hizashi said. Reluctantly, he turned to face Hizashi. He stood stock still, not wanting to seem too casual, but not wanting to seem too tense either. He still felt out of place. I'm sure you're tired. We all are. But I don't want to let you go before we talked a little bit. Hitoshi responded with a, a non-confirmential response. Hizashi took it as a sign to continue. I'm glad you're safe. We both are. But we need to talk about this. Hitoshi looked to the ground. So I am in trouble then. Good to know. We aren't mad. We never were. He took a second to look at Shinsou. Kiddo, can you look at me? Reluctantly, he made eye contact with Hizashi. We aren't mad. We were at the beginning. But mainly, we were worried. Once everyone has a little time to cool off, we're gonna have a house meeting. Does that sound okay with you? At this point, Aizawa was watching from the doorway. He was holding cups of tea, but seemed hesitant to enter the room. It doesn't really seem like I could say no to the house meeting. God, this is gonna suck. He nodded. Hizashi reached out to Hitoshi while he spoke. Oh, and kiddo, I'm so glad. All the tension in him snapped at once. He knew that Hizashi was going for a shoulder, probably for a hug, or just to put his hand there. But he couldn't just help it. He flinched. Fuck. He knew he fucked up the moment he did it. Hizashi looked so hurt, and Aizawa must have set down the tea at some point because now he was standing in the doorway with a hand over his mouth. They both looked so sad. Fuck. I did this. First I made them angry, then I made them stay up late, looking for me, now I've made them sad, and now they think I don't trust them. After all they've done for me. This is what they get? Why did they even look for me in the first place? He did the only thing he could think to do. Downplay it. He cleared his throat, making his voice a practice neutral. I'm going to bed. Without waiting for permission, he turned and walked into his room, and shut the door. As soon as the door shut behind him, he sank to the floor. He was shaking, and as he sat there, he began to notice the small tears running down his face. He was shaking with a constant blend of fear and sobbing. Habit alone kept him quiet during his private breakdown. Once he stopped crying, he stood up from the floor and made his way over to his bed. Exhausted, he collapsed, letting himself fall into a deep, dreamless sleep. He flinched. At me! Hizashi was pacing around the kitchen, nearly hysterical. Shouta was at the table, head in his hands. I saw it. He knows we'll never hurt him. I know he did, but I also thought he wouldn't run away. So maybe it's time to reevaluate. What do? Give him space? Not give him space? I don't want to force him to talk, but we do need to talk. Hizashi stopped pacing. Not tonight. He needs rest. We need rest. It's late, early? He took a breath. Let's go to bed. Aizawa nodded. They both got up and went to the rooms. Once they were in bed, Aizawa headed on Hisashi's chest. Aizawa spoke. If I were him, I'd want 1 day of space. Just one. Time to diffuse. Time to analyze. Time to plan. I think we should let him set the pace tomorrow. If he wants to talk, we talk. If he wants to be left alone, we leave him alone. But only for 1 day. Hisashi nodded. I getcha. If he feels in control, he'll open up a little more. I'm worried about him, Sho. He wrapped an arm around Aizawa and hugged tightly. I just want him to know he's safe. Me too. Hitoshi woke up to the sun streaming through his room. A glance at his phone told him it was 9 in the morning. Aizawa didn't wake me up for training. I wonder if this is part of my punishment. He stretched and pulled himself out of bed. After he changed his clothes, he sat back on the bed and stared at the door. There's no way they locked me in here while I was asleep, right? Even if they did, they probably would have left a note or something. He took a step towards the door. Am I even allowed inside the rest of the house right now? Lock or no lock? They might expect me to just stay here. He took another step. Now he was close enough to the door to touch it. Carefully, he reached his hand out to the knob. As carefully and quietly as possible, he opened the door. He did a quick check of the hallway. No one was there. He darted across the hall to the bathroom and shut the door quietly. Again, as quiet as possible, he went through his short morning routine. He didn't shower. In this situation, it was too loud and too long. He checked the hallway again before darting back into his room. He looked around his bed, unsure what to do. The simple act of his morning routine had been exhausting. Guess I haven't been on this edge in a while. He sighed and sat on his bed. After a few minutes, he moved to lay on his side. By 9:45, he was asleep again. Hisashi woke up at 6 a.m. That was normal. What wasn't normal was that he wanted to go right back to sleep. Shouta was still curled against his chest, snoring quietly. Nemuri's right. He's just like a cat. He lay there, enjoying his husband's presence. How I managed to swing this one? Marrying the love of my life? Obero would call me crazy. He ran his hands through his husband's hair. Aizawa just settled in further, sighing in contentment. Cat. He continued like that for a while. Maybe an hour, maybe only a few minutes. It didn't really matter. Eventually, his thoughts wandered to Hitoshi. Are we doing right by him? Giving him space? It seems like a lose-lose situation. We have to give him control, or we're no better than what he had in his past. But if we give him too much, then we'd seem aloof. I wish I knew the right answer was. Eventually, his thoughts slowed. He was able to drift back into a peaceful sleep, heavily aided by the warm weight on his chest. They talk to Hitoshi tomorrow. Okay. I love that, kind of. I mean, it's a lot of nuance, as I said. But it is starting to seem as though we're gonna be left on a very, very big cliffhanger, and I'm very scared. I'm scared, because the next one's the last one. And the next one's 11 minutes, and I do not think the talk's gonna happen in that one. I really hope. I really hope. Behold, after over a literal year, another chapter. This fic is a fucking white whale. I will finish it, so God help me. Welcome back to any regards from the rewrite, and welcome to any new readers. Glad I have you here. Edit. As of May 20th of 2024, I have edited this chapter again. I added a bit of extra stuff and fixed some formatting problems. Nothing major. I plan to post a new chapter soon. I'm positive that I've lost the entire audience of this fic since I started in, 2020, 4 entire years ago. So, you did not indeed finish that, because this is still an orphaned account. So, you very much did not finish this. And you did not lose an audience, because this is a very loved fic in my YouTube, so... I hope that it comes back. It's not, but I'll bring it back for you guys, just for you guys, because I'm happy. I'm not happy. No, I am happy. I'll bring it for you guys because I love you guys. There you go. What the fuck was I trying to say before? I don't know. Don't look at me. Apparently, you guys like my content? What do you guys like about me? What the fuck do I don't know, okay? No words, no thoughts, no nothing in this head. No nothing in this noggin. All I think are nothing. I don't think of anything. There is no words. There is no thoughts in my brain, okay? Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.